Live in Ketchikan is the only show of its kind dedicated to our town. This is the television show that spotlights all that happens in and around Ketchikan. Live in Ketchikan is your resource for all good things local.
Alright, welcome you guys. What we're going to do in here is watch a safety and instructional video. Then I'll have you sign a waiver. Then I'm going to put a lot of gear on you today. I do recommend you wear everything you've got with you as well as what I'm going to give you. Wow. Okay, let's get going.
Alright. To our instructional video to help ensure an enjoyable experience on the water today. When using the radio, hold the microphone button and speak clearly. Then release. Likely event of life-threatening emergency, one in which your guide is unable to assist. Press the button on your radio labeled 16 and say clearly, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. The United States Coast Guard will answer immediately.
What we want you to take with you today are cameras and sunglasses. If you don't have sunglasses, don't worry, it's just to block the wind from your eyes, so I have some safety glasses. We want you to leave behind your big bulky backpacks, so we'll give you dry bags for your cameras, okay? What we're providing today are socks. These go on over your socks, rain pants, boots, a rain jacket, wool face masks, and commercial fishing gloves, as well as life jackets, of course.
Come in here for my love hand.
Okay, wait, turn to Britt.
Hey, she's moving
I was born and raised here in Ketchikan, so I'm your local for the day. Up here I just have a couple of safety things to say. We'll have 3 boats trailing me today. So you guys will have a boat, you'll have your own boat, and one for you. And then including me, we have 4. So it's important that we stay in a line. If we're 3 or 4 boats abreast, we take up a lot of room in these narrow channels, and also other vessels kind of have a hard time knowing exactly where we're headed. So if we're in a line, they know exactly where we're going. So that's important. That being said, you're going to want to keep about 50 feet between the boats while we're running. Occasionally, I'll slow us down. I don't want to get you by surprise and have us playing bumper boats. So we'll just, a good visually safe distance there is important. I'm also going to try and get us as close to the beach as possible, hopefully to see something there on the shore, in the woods. Just, of course, don't get closer to that beach than I am. I'm going to be kind of doing this sort of thing along the shore. So again, as long as you're following behind me, you're going to be in a safe zone there. If we run into some large wake, we get some big ships coming through here all the time, I'll give you a signal to slow down, looks like this. So that doesn't mean fly. That means slow down. That way we'll take those good and easy. Yeah, right, you can try. Let's see, last thing. If we come up on some marine mammals, whales or seals, something like that, we are asked to keep 100 yards off of them. However, if they approach us, that's okay. We can turn off our engines and float and let them do their thing. So that's what I got for you up here. So let's get downstairs.
Like you, very rare to find a native, right?
Yeah, I'm a 3rd generation here in Ketchikan, so yeah. For support, grab one of these chrome bars. I just ask you not to use the steering wheel, that'll move on you. From there, feel free to step onto the seats too. They're durable, they're not gonna tear. And for those of you who know about boats, that's the hardest part. It's just getting in and out.
Right.
So from there, everything's pretty simple. These things work a lot like a car. I've got an ignition key right here underneath the throttle. Engine's running now, so left turns it off. Right fires it back up, so that's easy. This here is your throttle. Now it's not gonna move from neutral unless you squeeze this little trigger underneath. So you squeeze that, push it forward, now it's in gear. And of course, the further forward you push it, the faster the boat will go. So when I give you guys that signal to slow down, go ahead and draw that throttle back gradually, and the water is gonna act as your brakes, okay?
Where's your big boy?
I know. I'm losing it a little bit today already. So when you hear that throttle click, that's how you know you're in neutral, okay? Same thing for reverse. Squeeze that trigger and pull it back towards you, okay? Now, I have a VHF radio. We're all on the same channel. However, it's an open line, so I'm not gonna run the tour over the radio. It's there for emergencies. Again, my name's Jeff. If you need to get a hold of me, hit this button, say, hey Jeff, we need your help, wave at me, and I'll come around and figure out what's going on, okay? So that's just there for emergencies. I'll give you a signal to come up to me. Go ahead and wrap your boats right there next to me. I'll hold onto your lines, and that's when I'll do my talking, okay? Any questions? Right on, guys.
And here's your glass.
I'll go back.
Just kind of ease it in.
Okay.
Just be smooth.
Really? All right. Number one color, right?
Just went back to the outside of this way one. And they pull out. You just pull it, lift up on that. Now pull it forward.
Lift it.
And eject it. There you go. You're good. Yeah.
Thank you. Now, if you guys would help me out, be my teammates, and hold on to one of their lines when they get over here, that would help me out a lot. Look at that. Like a glove. Perfect. All right, guys. So I like to stop here just to show us how, how this is going to work. Also, for the obvious reason that we have a landing strip out here for the seaplanes. We have 800 to 1,200 departures every day right out of here, making this one of the busiest stretches of water in America, believe it or not. When you add that with the cruise ships and fishing boats and us, it makes it busy. So that being said, I want to get out of this traffic zone as fast as possible. So I'm going to head straight over here to this island in front of us. Once we're there, we'll be well out of traffic for pretty much the rest of the tour. On our way that direction, I'm going to give it a little juice. Don't be afraid to follow my lead on that. And I don't see any planes coming or going. So let's make a break for it, okay? Sure, that works. Yeah. Oh, you know what? There's a plane coming in, so give it just a minute. All right. Say again? Deer Mountain. Yeah. It's the tallest peak in town, 3,001 feet tall. Wow. Yeah. All right, guys, we ready? Yeah. Let's do it.
Whoa, sorry.
All right, guys. How are we doing so far?
Pretty cool.
So when we get wrapped up like this, go ahead and we can kill the engines. You want to kill your engine there. Perfect. That way it's easier to hear and we're not breathing in fumes and all that. But so this doesn't happen every day. It's kind of interesting. So this island is called Penic Island, not Panic, P-E-N, Penic. And these cabins here have been abandoned for as long as I can remember. I used to kayak through here as a kid, and you know, I've never seen them lived in. In fact, they're actually listed as ruins on the charts. If you look closely, it's kind of interesting. Now, about a month ago, this one in the middle, I saw a guy come down and started demolishing it. He had a sledgehammer out and was wrecking it. And so every once in a while, every couple of weeks now, we'll see some new development. He'll have a fire going, burning some of it or something. Yeah, I know he's got a gas can. See, what's kind of funny is the beauty about living in a rainforest is we can go up and build a fire on the beach anytime we want. You don't need a permit. You just go and do it because, you know, there's no real danger of forest fires here. It's so wet. We get 13 feet of rain a year. So it's pretty much 13 feet.
See, they're underwater.
4 meters.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty wild. Yeah. So you guys lucked out. You know, 250, 300 days out of the year, it's raining. So this is a nice day. It's been a nice summer.
It's been a cherry summer.
It's been beautiful. The best one I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
So.
What?
What's that?
The temperature high?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's supposed to get about 65 today, and that's a nice day for September.
Unheard of for September.
I know. It's awesome. This summer has been beautiful, and it's not quitting, so no complaints there. Now, these homes, of course, are lived in. And see, the people who live in these homes here on Penic Island are essentially off the grid. You know, there's no bridge to the island. There are no roads on it. Nothing, just the homes and some walking trails, I suppose. Now, they go to work and go to school in Ketchikan. So people living over here have to take a boat across the channel every day to get to work. And right around middle school, we start letting the kids go by themselves in a boat to get to school every day.
Pay them $10 a day.
Is that
They get
right?
a stipend. Did you know that?
I had no idea. That's cool.
Is there a water taxi at all? Water taxi service?
There is a water taxi. Yeah, I'm sure they would come over here if you called them, but everyone and their brother has a boat anyway. So, yeah, it's neat. In fact, I heard a kid I went to school with here, he was telling me how he learned to drive a boat. His dad was a commercial fisherman, so he'd been raised on the water anyway. But when he was 6 years old, his dad put him in a skiff, a Lund, kind of like that red one over there, and disconnected the fuel line and shoved him off and said, figure it out. So he starts up the engine, it runs for about 30 seconds as he's going, and then it runs out of fuel, and he's sitting there dead in the water, and 6 years old, eventually he looked around, figured it out, hooked it up, and went. And that's how he learned how to drive a boat. Yep.
Are there also many islands?
Sure.
And the kids go also on that way to school.
Right. Wow, that's neat. It's different. You know, there aren't a whole lot of places in the world like that. So it's a cool thing. Something to keep in mind if you're living on this island, though, you notice how, you know, all the floats the docks they're floating, so they go up and down with the tide. You see the high tide line is right where the seaweed kind of stops on the rocks there. We get up to a 25-foot differential every 6 hours. 25 vertical feet. So we're right around a low tide now, so it's gonna be coming up. So when we get back to the dock, you notice our ramp's gonna be a bit more friendly on us. You can imagine, you see people here, they need to get their supplies, groceries from Ketchikan. Imagine trying to haul a cart of groceries up, you know, a 45-degree angle ramp like that. You gotta time everything for the high tides. Exactly. Yeah, it's cool. It's pretty wild. If you're right behind me, you know, 4 or 5 boat lengths, it's gonna be really smooth for you. The one thing I ask is just don't get closer to the beach than I am. Deal?
Deal.
Deal.
Do you have our rope? Hello? we like you, but not that much.
So we have roughly 10,000 pairs of bald eagles in the southeast Alaska area. They count them in pairs because they mate for life. They'll get together and they'll keep the same mate unless one dies. If that happens, they'll find a new one, but they live for about 25 years in the wild. So, and when they pair up, they'll build a nest, and that nest, they keep it their whole lives. So they just kind of reinforce them every single year. So if you can imagine 25 years of reinforcement, these nests get pretty big. They found one up in Juneau a few years back that it had been built over some power lines. So they decided the nest was kind of a hazard, and they cut it down. They sent it to the University of Alaska to examine it, to study the nest. When they weighed it, it was 1,600 pounds. It was huge. It was 3 feet deep and 9 feet across. I'm gonna head down the shore for a ways. I am gonna head over that other side. Now, I'm probably gonna take us around that southern point there. When I do, we're gonna be in a kind of a passageway towards open water. It makes for some neat scenery, and I've got all kinds of stuff to tell you about and show you over there, so we'll do that. Thank you. We'll want to go on the outside of this buoy here. The innocent kind. Yeah. So this body of water here, this is called Nichols Passage, and it's a passageway towards open water. That direction, if we were to continue out that way, the next land we'd hit would be Hawaii. Okay. And I've got an extra gas can. Yeah, let's give it a shot. Anybody got a Snickers bar? I think it would take us about 3 weeks to get there. Wow. Yeah, it's a long run. Yeah, a lot of water. No, that's kind of neat. Is that
a pirate ship? Way out there, is that a body of water? Is that an island or is that a...
The one way out there, that's an island, yeah.
You know what? Tell them about the difference, like, when we hear the weather, about the wave heights and stuff.
Sure.
Because when I first moved here from Florida, it was like, whoa. So
okay.
it was like in there versus out there.
Yeah. So, okay, first of all, you already noticed right here, just off this point, you see this current? It's essentially about 200 to 300 feet deep in the channels where we were. And then out here, it gets down to about 500, 600 feet deep. But right off this point, it shallows up quite a bit. So when the tides are coming in or out, the water has to go right over that hump. Causes some pretty wild tides here. Now right now it's not that bad because there's no wind. But I've come out here on days when there's a good 20-knot wind against this current. It's stacked up 7 or 8 feet right here. Wow. And that gets scary in these boats. I'll tell you.
I bet.
It does.
You have surfers out here?
I don't see any. I would be afraid. You know, our beaches aren't very surfer friendly if you... Yeah. But in certain places, I know there's, Point Alva is notorious. It's just southeast of us here. 20-foot seas occasionally. Wow. Because of the same process. It's the currents and the winds bucking each other create some wild tides.
Now I thought I saw something like a turtle with its head up and its head down.
I thought I saw the same thing. Okay. I bet you it was a seal. I thought the same thing. It looked like a piece of kelp to me. And then it just kind of went under. I was like, oh, kelp doesn't do that. We don't have turtles, but it was probably a seal.
A seal.
Yeah, probably a seal.
Are there also turtles in the bay?
No. No, we don't have sea turtles this far north. Seals, sea lions. We don't even have really river otter, or sea otters this far south. They were kind of all taken out during the when the Russians were here with their fur trade. They're starting to make a comeback in Sitka, and I think they projected in a few years we'll start seeing sea otters back here again. But
Name of that mountain or?
this is a net island. I'm not sure. I think it might be a net mountain. But that island has the only native Alaskan reservation in the state.
Got it.
It's about, well, 12 miles southwest of us, and you see that road there connects the reservation. Oh. The road behind us here connects the reservation with a ferry terminal. There's a ferry terminal right here in the bay. The ferry's not there right now. You'd be able to see it. We have a ferry system to connect all the communities in Southeast Alaska, because we're all on islands, every community except for Juneau. But Juneau still has no roads in or out.
Right.
So we have what's called the Alaska Marine Highway System. And it connects the communities because we can only have, boat or plane access. So when I was in high school, I played trumpet in the band. So if there was like a music festival up in Juneau, they'd pile a whole band onto one of these ferries, and it's a 22-hour run up to Juneau. It's great. It's awesome. So you get like at least 4 days off school, because 2 of them are travel days for, you spend the night on the boat, and you can sleep out on the deck. You bring a sleeping bag and sleep out on the deck on a nice night. You can see the stars, northern lights if you want. It's a great experience. To me, I always thought that was way more fun than, like a couple-hour bus ride. It's great.
Yep. Are people fishing here on salmon?
Yeah. In fact, that boat right there is a commercial troller. He's going too fast to be actually trolling right now. He's running. But right now we're just at the, kind of approaching the tail end of our salmon run, pink and silver salmon. It's been a record year, I guess, for the seiners. And like I said, the beauty of it is you can come out and build a fire anywhere, no permits, nothing, just do it. Now, something that's kind of neat about this island, how old are you, by the way? You're 8. Okay, so it's a ways away for you. When you're about 13, 14, if you were to live here in Ketchikan, see, every year to pass 8th grade, and yeah, this is neat, to pass 8th grade and graduate into high school, every 8th grader is required to pass a 3-day survival test. And this is one of the islands they do it on. And it's cool. It's great.
Everything you're allowed to take is in a coffee can.
Yeah. What you're allowed to bring with you is a quart size, not a big one, a quart size coffee can. And anything you can fit in there is fair game, minus food, water, and a lighter. So in my group, essentially they send 30 of us out there, like a regular class, split us up into small groups of 3 or 4. In my group, I was the fire guy. I brought matches and I made little homemade fire starters. You can do that out of cotton balls and Vaseline, do pretty well. The old Boy Scout trick is an egg carton with wax in it. That's good. You can bring fishing line and hooks. You can't bring the rod. You can bring the hooks and the line. A knife in your pocket. You can pack rain gear and all that. And a sleeping bag, and that's all you get. So we're out here for 3 full days with no food, water, or shelter. And essentially it's up to us to build a shelter. We usually get like some kind of lean-to thing out of logs and sticks and moss. Then try to get a fire going, and then we, forage for our own food.
The inventor of this idea, read Lord of the Flies?
Apparently they never did. Because, yeah. No, we do have a chaperone, otherwise it would be Lord of the Flies pretty fast. There's a chaperone, and they usually have like a satellite phone or something in case something real does happen.
And they separate the boys and the girls. Girls go to one island, boys to another.
Yeah, this island in particular is the girls. They put the boys like 10 miles that way. I couldn't figure out why they did that, but figure we couldn't swim that far. But it's great. So during the whole 8th grade year, we like during our science period, we learn about what's edible out here and what's not, and we'll learn how to build a fire and a shelter. And, you know, so we're prepared when we get out here, and then around April is when they do it. So it's kind of like a final exam thing. And it's great.
When they have a survival trip light for the 7th graders.
Exactly, yeah. See, we do like a 7th grade camping trip. So we get to bring anything that we need and want on the 7th grade trip. It's kind of a preliminary thing. And then the 8th grade is the real deal survival trip. It's great. Yeah, it's fun. Okay. Do you mind to continue holding on to them for me? Is that okay? Right on. Okay, cool. All right, so this is called bull kelp. Now, it gets its name from this long root, exactly. Looks like a bull whip. And it broke off just a tad short, but what it does is it has a little root system on it. Attaches itself to a rock on the bottom. And as the plant grows, the stalk here and this bulb fill with gas. It causes it to float. Now, you've probably seen quite a bit of this already, but it's an interesting plant. Now, the whole thing is edible. And normally I'd offer you guys some, but this has like a fungus growing on it, so I'm sorry. I'm sure you really wanted some.
Darn.
Shoot. Yeah, it's kind of an interesting plant.
You can pickle it too, and it's really good.
Right. Alan Marine does that, and yeah, I've tried it. It is pretty good. Now, it's kind of, let's see if I can get it kind of cleaned up a little bit. I've seen herring picking at it, and I guess sea otters eat it. But again, we don't have sea otters this far south. Seals like to hide their pups in big kelp beds when they go hunting, because it kind of protects the pups. Now, it's hollow all the way through, so you see that? Isn't that wild? See that? Of course, you guys have seen it, but you know, check it out, feel it. It's like a thick rubber hose.
Wow.
Isn't that weird?
That is weird.
It's kind of, it's like, it feels industrial, doesn't it?
It seems like it's a plastics company.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, that's hard.
The things we take for granted, right?
Yeah, much fun.
Isn't that wild?
I mean, you can make piping for your house.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, theoretically you could. When it dries up though, it kind of gets mushy and disintegrates, so it's not really useful for anything outside of like when it's fresh. But like Michelle was saying, you can cut rings out of it and pickle the rings. And that's, yeah, it is pretty good. Now, my favorite thing to do with this plant though, this is neat.
Oh!
Ooh, did you hear that? Isn't that cool? Yeah, right, I know. Isn't that funny? Nah, thanks. Here, you gotta check this out. This is cool though, watch. I feel like jazz. This is kind of neat. You feel it?
I feel it.
You want to try it? You gotta try it. Here, I'll tell you what. I'll give you a clean mouthpiece here.
Really have daddy plays this as a saxophone.
Oh yeah? Hey, well I'll tell you what you do is you just pucker your lips and you gotta buzz into it. You're close. You're close. You are. That's it.
Nice.
I'm playing
Oh, it's just a wet the full
Yeah.
band over there.
I know, we pull up enough of it, we can start a band. Kind of sounds like a whale fart. That's good.
Nice.
That's really good. Yeah. I know.
That's the real question.
You got it.
Good job.
I love with the helmet on and everything. Look at that, the helmet. Ba, 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 ba. Isn't that wild?
But it disintegrates when it's held.
Yeah, it'll get kind of mushy and start to disintegrate. She's good. She's a natural. Yeah. Do you guys want to give it a shot? Like, no, we'll pass. It's funny, you can drink beer out of it too.
Oh,
right?
the Alaskan.
I'm sure.
Alaskan beer pong.
Right. If you needed it, you could use it as a snorkel, or I don't know. I like to segue from the survival to this because you can use it for so much. I mean, obviously a signal. Then you got a cup to drink from, and I used to terrorize my sister with this part, you know, and just whoosh. So.
Oh man,
You know.
right, Andy.
I know. Yeah, right. Anyway, you got a bludgeoning tool, you know. Anyway, that stuff grows 3 feet a day, by the way.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? Bamboo is the only thing that grows faster than that plant. I think they like this rock because there's a lot of that kelp that I'd shown you, a lot of that around, and that kind of protects them. They can hide in that. You see all their little heads bobbing up and down? They're cute little guys. I was 8 years old fishing with my dad around, I was fishing around Guard Island. It's an island a bit north of us, kind of like this, a little bit bigger. It has a lighthouse on it. There were some seals hauled out like this. And an orca, a killer whale, came up full throttle onto the beach. And he grabbed one of these seals and threw it behind him. And there were 2 other whales out there waiting, and they all started playing catch. The females, I guess, were giving birth around June, May and June. All right, let's go ahead and head back towards town. That way we have time for a little bit of history over there, okay?
That's what he was making fun of.
Yeah, it's a neat little spot to see it from. This is Saxman Tribal Village. It's an original native settlement here that they hold the largest collection of totem poles in the world. I guess 72 of them, I think, was the last count. Now, I'll talk real fast because I am running a little out of time, but there's one pole that I like to point out in particular. You see there's that clan house there in the back. To the right of it, there's that row of poles there. The one in the back has a little white man up at the top with a green hat on. Do you see him? Looks like a garden gnome up there. That pole was erected for Bill Seward. Now, Seward was excuse me, I'm losing my voice. Seward was Secretary of State under Lincoln, and he's the man who purchased Alaska from Russia. They called it Seward's Folly at the time. Everyone thought that Alaska was just ice and snow. So he got it for 2 cents an acre, the whole state. So roughly $7 million. 2 cents an acre, I know. Isn't that wild? And after he got it, he came up and visited, and Saxman was one of his stops. So he came up here, and the natives were proud to be a territory of the United States, so they threw him a party. They cooked him food, gave him trinkets and gifts. And he thought that was really nice of him, but he didn't understand it's part of their culture to give something back in return. So he kind of waved, said thanks for everything, and headed north. So they erected that pole as a totem of shame because he had been rude and hadn't brought something to the party, which I think is kind of funny. Yeah. After I read that, I told my friends, you know, if you come to a party empty-handed, I'm going to start erecting little totems of shame. I have a whole wall full of them.
I always wonder if that's why there's really nothing on that pole.
I know, I kind of wondered that too. If you go up close to him, he's got this sorry look on his face and he's all pale. I don't know, it's kind of interesting little pole. But, and the last thing I'll show you here, there's that yellow house there. Behind it, in the cottonwood tree, there's an eagle's nest. You see it there? That big clump in the tree there. All right, guys, we'll go ahead and we got to head back to the dock from here. So I'll make one more stop in front of our dock there where the cruise ships are and kind of explain how we're going to go in. And from there, we'll get you some hot chocolate or beer or wine. Thank you.
Nothing for you there.
That's right. That's right. Shame poles for everybody.
You're watching Live in Ketchikan.
Well, I like to stop right here just because there's this nice little postcard view of Ketchikan here if you want a picture of that. It's a perfect shot with Deer Mountain in the background. But from here, we're going to head straight into the dock. About 20 yards off the dock, I'll give you my slowdown. We'll go real easy there into the dock. I don't see any planes coming or going, so time to make a break for it. Thanks for coming out with me today, guys.
That was fun.
It's been great.
You're set.
You're alright. You're alright. Oh my God. You're good. You're good. Take your little gas and swing around. Good job.
Yeah, right. Okay, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
That is the biggest starfish I've ever seen.
Awesome. Ship some stuff in the back down.
Oh, it's alright. I'm not gonna.
There we go. Why don't you hold up one of his tentacles?
No!
It's really not bad.
I'm not touching that thing at all.
It feels like nothing like pumice stone. Yeah, it does feel like, you're right, it does feel like pumice stone.
He doesn't seem very happy.
Good. If you'd like us to email you a copy, just fill this out, email address, picture number, we'll get that to you.
Jake, you're looking so badass in this. He always does that.
Oh, yeah.
Jacob, the camera.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.